1,000 kilograms of high-impact weight. Falling from the edge of space, it's 16 times the speed of sound. While the headlines were busy dissecting the 7 words that promised the struggle was pretty much complete, the new leadership in Tehran was preparing a response that makes the last 2 weeks look like a small spark before an absolute firestorm. But before we can see the fire, we have to ask the questions that the mainstream media is too afraid to touch. Is this 1 ton warning a final sign of desperation? Or is it a chilling glimpse into the mind of the new leader, Mojtaba Khamenei? You might be wondering, what was the weight of the operation that finally penetrated the deep earth bunker of the previous leader in Tehran? How much weight was actually used to remove the previous leader from his secure compound? And was it the same weight used to turn the streets of Gaza into rubble? And as the sirens begin to wail across the region, can anything actually stop a 1-ton hammer from falling once it leaves the atmosphere? To find the answer, we have to look at what happened on March 9, 2026, when Iran issued a statement that effectively ended the era of measured responses. This wasn't just a random warning. It was a direct response to the attempt that claimed Ayatollah Khamenei and the months of damage witnessed by the allies of Tehran. The announcement was simple. No strike will be launched from Iran with a payload weighing less than 1 ton. To most people, 1 ton sounds like the weight of a small car. But in the world of high-velocity physics, it is a city block eraser. This is the weight of the Khorramshahr 4, a device the military calls the Kheibar. And while there are missiles with more range, there is nothing in their arsenal with a heavier fist. You might ask how this compares to the ultimate nightmare, a nuclear device. A 1-ton warhead contains 1,000 kilograms of high explosives, which is roughly 1/15,000th the power of the bomb dropped on Hiroshima. But it is the absolute limit of what a conventional weapon can achieve. It is being used for one specific reason: to destroy what was previously thought to be indestructible. This is the bunker buster strategy, a direct mirror of the tactics used by the United States and Israel to reach deep earth command centers. By setting a 1-ton minimum, Mojtaba Khamenei is signaling a strategy to reach figures like Netanyahu or Western generals, no matter how much concrete is above their heads. It is a move that seems to take direct retaliation for the weight used in Gaza, where 2,000-pound devices, exactly 1 ton, were used to level high-rises and residential blocks. For those who have supported the cause of Gaza, this shift feels like a balancing of the scales, a message that the same 1-ton nightmare is now being prepared for its return journey. This is the first signature of the new leader, and it shows a man who is the polar opposite of his father. Where his father looked for proportional ways to respond back, Mojtaba is showing the world that he simply doesn't care about the old rules of engagement. He is switching from the needle to the sledgehammer, and the seriousness of this new doctrine is difficult to wrap the human mind around. A single city blocker of this size can level every structure within a 100-meter radius and send a shockwave that shatters every window for over a kilometer. It creates a zone that can impact 100,000 people in a dense urban center in the blink of an eye. But the question remains, what is the maximum that Israel can defend with its world-class missile defense systems? Systems like the Arrow 3 are designed to hit targets while they are still in the silence of space. But the Khorramshahr 4 is built to dodge. It swerves and maneuvers in its final seconds, making it like trying to hit a golf ball with another golf ball in the middle of a hurricane. And even if the defense system manages to puncture the device in the air, the danger doesn't vanish into the clouds. A 1-ton mass falling at Mach 16 creates what experts call a Meteor Effect. Even without a full mid-air breakup, 1,000 kilograms of high-velocity metal hitting the ground is enough to collapse a transit station or trigger a localized earthquake. You don't stop a 1-ton hammer. You only try to change where it lands. This leads to a reality the public hasn't considered: the liquid fuel advantage of the Kheibar. Unlike smaller rockets that burn out quickly, this 1-ton monster uses a hypergolic fuel that stays inside the missile, allowing it to stay active and maneuverable all the way to the moment of impact. This means while a defense system is calculating where the missile should be, the missile is already deciding where it wants to be. It is not just a weight, it is a weight with a mind. And it isn't just one missile. Iran has spent decades carving missile cities into the granite of the Zagros Mountains. These are vast underground networks where thousands of these 1-ton hammers are stored on automated rails, ready to be rolled out and launched in waves that could overwhelm any computer-monitored sky. If the defense system can only track 100 targets at once, What happens when the new leader decides to roll out 200? This is where the Hydra effect becomes terrifying, proving that the removal of the old leadership didn't weaken the system, it just removed the last bit of human restraint. The Shadow King has taken the throne, and he is using this heavyweight doctrine to show that the short excursion was only the opening chapter of a much longer book. He is moving the fight away from the desert and toward the very things that keep your world running: the supply chains, the power grids, and the energy routes. Consider the Strait of Hormuz, a narrow neck of water where 20% of the world's oil passes every single day. A 1-ton warhead doesn't need to hit a ship to be effective. It only needs to hit the water near a tanker to create a pressure wave that cracks the hull like an egg. If Mojtaba decides to use his 1-ton minimum on the world's energy gates, the mission accomplished story won't just be a lie, it will be the epitaph of the global economy. This creates a state of dread that no positive market report or televised promise of victory can fix. We want to believe the mission accomplished story is true this time, because the alternative is a weight that is too heavy for the world to carry. But the rules of the game have been rewritten in the dark by a man who feels he has nothing left to lose. He is looking at the ruins of the past year and deciding that if his world is to be lived in shadows, then the rest of the world will feel that same darkness. In a conflict this heavy, there is no such thing as a safe distance or a limited engagement anymore. The front line is no longer a map in a war room. It is the gas station down the street and the signal on your phone. We are entering the era of deep pressure, where the goal isn't to win a territory, but to break the will of an entire civilization by proving that nowhere is out of reach. As the sirens continue to sound, the question isn't whether one side can damage the other. The question is how much will be left when the heavyweights are done falling. The world is beginning to realize that the most dangerous part of a fire is the moment it turns into a storm. And in 2026, the storm has only just begun.